This is an afterthought.
No, this is a sequel to the video entitled Our Child Protection System. And Alvin wants to say something.
Give me a hint about what I want to say.
Well, it has to do with child protection.
They're not very good at it, MCFD.
You like to say things like that, you know, and that's the kind of thing that's going to get us in trouble, Alvin.
Well, what's good about them, Colleen?
Well, you know,
what is good about them?
If you read through the best interests of the children and the guiding principles, you think that they have a, you know...
But they don't abide by them.
Yeah, but still saying things like that, Alvin, is what's going to get us all screwed up.
Yeah, but the people out there should know the truth. I mean, why keep your head up your ass when it's your children that are dying because of it?
Well, you know, and because it's not your child, but somebody else's child, or it hasn't happened yet, but you've made complaint after complaint after complaint.
But just wait. Just wait. Because cause and effect always comes around to bite those who are not actually doing anything. So if our children are taken away and they're put in foster homes, okay, we haven't done anything. There's nothing for them. They've realized they made a mistake and now they're too far into it, okay, to come out.
That's the kind of thing.
Okay, but
Totally
anyways, what happens is that these children don't have proper parental guidance, okay? And then one of your people, your children, your family members gets assaulted or abused by somebody who's been through the system.
And you know what else, Alvin?
Then it's us that are blamed, not MCFD.
You know what else? You know, the 9,050 children that are in care this year.
And the 4,000 something that are in...
children in homes of relatives, and the 165 that are under kith and kin agreements.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids, and you know, because they're gonna, it's a dysfunctional upbringing to be brought up with foster home, especially if you don't need to be. If everything was, you know, okay at home, and you were moved, that's even worse. And if there's that many children in care in the year 2007, and there was, you know, how many kids in 1950? They had like 300 phone calls that year to deal with, or in the early, you know, stages of the ministry being developed, you know, or actually that was CAS. But what I'm saying is, by 2017, how many of our grandchildren are going to be in foster care? How many of our great-grandchildren's children will be in foster care if we don't put a stop to this?
Yeah, because once you've been into foster care, you're now more likely to be classified as a bad parent when you go and have children after coming out of foster care.
Yeah, one lady that told me her
Why
story
is that?
said
Shouldn't it be better?
This one lady, I think I told you about her already, she had 3 kids, and she said one of basically the main reason they used in the courtroom was that she was brought up in the care of the ministry, so how could she know anything about family dynamics?
Whoa, what a bold statement. Yeah, they're basically shooting themselves in the foot and blaming us for it. Well, maybe we should be to blame because we're the ones that allowed it to go on for so long.
What about foster parents that, you know, become foster parents because they need extra money? Do they love our children like we do?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, they don't.
Because one little girl that says, you know, that she swears her foster mother hates her, how does that feel for her to wake up every day and face that woman that she, one, doesn't know, you know, and thinks that she doesn't even like her?
Yeah.
How
horribly.
Yeah.
How horrible for the child.
Girl.
Yeah, that's not good at all. You know, and we're supposed to be a caring, you know, Christian society or Muslim society or whatever society, but in actual fact, we're no better than any other society.
Yeah, we're supposed to be so, you know, what's it called, so accepting of other people's traditions and ways of being, and yet if you aren't Christian, the ministry comes down really hard on you. You know, you gotta be Christian in this society or else you're just not right.
Whew.
So That's the end of our
Yeah.
afterthought, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long 5 years, folks. You know, I used to work for social services in a small way. I used to take care of the mentally challenged, and while I was doing that, I took some sign language courses because one of my mentally challenged men was deaf, and nobody was actually communicating with him in his language. So I took these courses, and eventually a couple of other people found out that I was taking them, and I could use my sign language effectively. And so they asked me to big brother some deaf children, because I used to like to bike and hike and swim and do all kinds of active stuff, and so I worked with these kids for a year, and the parents were really happy. The kids were always happy to be around me, and we used to do all kinds of fun things. And now that I've moved up here, because this was back in Nova Scotia, now that I've moved up here, I'm not allowed to be around children. And
Well,
but yet
that's
I've
not
never,
true.
I'm just not allowed to be around your children.
Right.
And I've never done anything to them, ever, not once. And even before I
Well,
met
you hadn't even met them before they made up that
yeah,
rule.
well, this is something that I'd like to say. I hadn't been around any children here in BC. I'd never been accused of doing anything bad to children, and like I just said, I worked with kids, as a big brother, and when I came up here and started fighting for Colleen's rights and helping her get her voice a little louder, that's when they started attacking me. And they like, this is their main point, is that I'm a danger to be around, and I'm a danger because I'm fighting for children's right to be heard, the parents' rights to be heard. I don't believe that if Canadians knew just how bad things were in the court system, just how many people are being run over and their lives being just picked apart and destroyed, and if you're not strong enough to withstand this stuff, chances are you'll go to drugs and alcohol. You might commit suicide, or at least attempt it, and then what are you going to look like? And that's what they're not hoping, because I don't want to sound like I'm against them. But let's face it, it makes them look so much better. And
Well, it just makes them look like they were right.
yeah.
If you give in, because I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard. Look at Mary.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, our friend, my wife's fiance, 3 months after we were married, ended up dying of an overdose of whatever was in the needle.
But she
was,
family, her parents met in residential school. She was abused in residential school for years. And when she got out of residential school and, had a couple kids of her own, then they got apprehended. And then her kids' got apprehended. That's 4 generations of a family destroyed.
Yeah, all for the good of being good. Jesus.
It's terrible.
Yeah, what a cycle. And the majority of people out there are living normal, happy lives, while others are trying to live normal, happy lives, but we're being educated. This has been an education on how many people want to keep their head in the sand and not see what's going on. And I mean, one of the things that Colleen mentioned a few weeks ago, she said, when I first came up to Victoria and started telling people about the case, and the both of us would do it together, she always felt that as soon as somebody realized that the ministry was doing this, that they would try to help. And then, years later, she realized that everybody knew, and still they didn't help. They already knew. They already knew the ministry was doing this. We're just, we're in 5 years into this, so we're new, basically, compared to the lawyers and the judges and the politicians who know it's hopeless. It's out of control. There's a machine out there that needs children,